Annie, Diane, and Finn all stood staring at Annie and Diane's high school nemesis framed in the doorway of Annie's dance studio, Olivia Engel. Her blue eyes were still as cold as they used to be, and the years had been kind to her as she looked like she'd aged well. Olivia's hair was dark brown and well-groomed into a shoulder-length bob. She was still slender and dressed in a cream blouse that was tucked into the elastic waist of her wide-legged maroon cotton trousers. Olivia's outfit was finished off by low-heeled maroon pumps. She looked like she was going to a country club for a luncheon. "Olivia!" Annie and Diane said at the same time. A movement next to Annie caught her eye, and she glanced up to see Finn take a few steps forward toward Olivia. "What are you doing here?" Finn hissed. "You know her?" Diane looked at Finn curiously. "Unfortunately, yes." Finn glanced at Diane before turning his attention back to Olivia. "She likes to stick her nose where it doesn't belong." Annie noticed that Finn's hands clenched at his sides and his jaw tightened. "Calm down, Finn." Olivia's eyes narrowed. "This is not about you, but it is about your son and Annie's children." She pointed to Annie. "Nathan?" Annie saw Finn's eyes widen with worry. "What have you done?" "Why are you here, Olivia?" Diane stepped up next to Finn. "What do you know about what's going on with Addie, Emily, and Craig?" "And Nathan," Olivia added, her eyes moving from Diane back to Finn. Annie frowned at the obvious dislike between Finn and Olivia, wondering how the two of them knew each other. She moved closer so she could step between Finn and Olivia if needed, because Finn's posture showed he was coiling up tighter by the minute. Annie looked into Olivia's eyes and was a little alarmed at what she saw. From afar, she just looked like a more mature Olivia. Up close, she had a haunted look and a thin scar below her left eye that ran up toward her temple. Olivia looked tired, like she was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, but there was also something else. Annie's eyes moved down toward Olivia's hands. They were balled into fists at her sides, but not because she was angry. She was trying to stop her hands from shaking. That's when Annie realized that the underlying look in Olivia's eyes was fear. Finn glanced at his wristwatch, saying, "Nathan was supposed to be here by now." He looked up at Olivia, his eyes once again narrowing dangerously. "Where is Nathan, Olivia?" he said through gritted teeth. Annie could see that Finn was barely holding on to his patience. She knew how he felt. Alarm and fear flooded through her as it started sinking in that her kids really were in danger. She looked back at Olivia. "Please, Olivia, tell us what you know," Annie asked her, almost pleadingly. Olivia was about to say something when Diane's phone rang once again. All eyes turned toward Diane, who pulled her phone from her pocket. "It's Addie," she said, answering her phone. "Hello, Addie?" Diane looked up at Annie. Her eyes were wide with worry and fear as she switched the phone on speaker. "No, it's not Addie." A male voice echoed through the receiver, sending chills of even more fear down Annie's spine. "I have 5 hostages that I believe are important to you and Annie Davis." "Who are you?" Diane asked him. "If you don't do as I ask, you will find out soon enough. And trust me, it's better for everyone if you don't know." The man sounded dangerous to Annie, and her panic started to grow. Anyone that didn't want their name known didn't want to be seen either. But if he had Addie's phone, that meant Craig, Emily, Sage, Addie, and presumably Nathan had seen it.